Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm, of course, your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about this Tier 10 tank destroyer, a super heavy tank destroyer at that, the T110E3. Now, this vehicle has been one of the strongest performing Tier 10s in the game. In fact, it is the #1 performing tank destroyer for quite a bit of time. The reason for that being is because of its fantastic frontal armor. As long as you hide that lower plate, and this vehicle can easily do that with its 8 degrees of gun depression, you basically have no weak spots. Sure, you do have the commander's hatch on the roof, but it's not very easy to penetrate. Or is it? Yes, that is right. In update 8.2, that Cupola will be a way easier target. A month ago, I posted a video on the T110E3, and I said the vehicle is ruined. I showed the 8.0 hatch, which you can see here, all red, and then I showed 8.1, which is all green. And while it turns out that Wargaming did not put that patch in place and did not nerf the vehicle, we were still right on our speculations. A lot of people questioned Wargaming, and Wargaming even replied and said that the vehicle is not getting nerfed. And then, funny enough, one patch later, here we have it from Wargaming themselves saying that the T110E3's commander's Cupola was changed. Yes, that is right. So it says the side and rear armor of the commander's Cupola was decreased from 229 to 152 millimeters. Now, I don't think the side and rear is going to be huge changes, unless you've got like an angle, I guess, on the side of it. You'll be able to pen now when you might not have been able to before. But overall, I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. What is this here. The upper part of the commander's Cupola front was increased, with its armor equal to 51 millimeters thick, which is not much. It says the armor of the lower part was decreased from 229 to 152. The frontal part of the commander's Cupola received a 210 millimeter thick screen. Now that sounds good. 210 millimeters plus 152. That's, 362 millimeters thick. And of course, that's a screen, which means it's spaced armor. Until we take a look at my favorite source, Blitzhanger. And if you take a look at that armor, well, Blitzhanger up top, as you can see in that purple there, says it's 190 millimeters thick. That is right. The Cupola on the T110E3 might just possibly be nerfed to a point where basically any tier 10s can penetrate it if they load premium. Now, I'm not sure if heat shells are going to be able to get through this screen here. As you can see, it's about the same thickness that Wargaming said. And the armor behind it is also the same thickness at 51 millimeters. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to say about the T110E3 next update. The thing that I don't like is that if this is what the E3 is going to be in update 8.2, which is just a couple days around the corner, it's gonna kind of ruin the purpose of the vehicle. The T110E3 is meant to be a hull-down beast, where before, in update 8.1, you could easily put the vehicle hull down like this, and that hatch, 300 millimeters, 500 millimeters, even the weaker part is 290. Flat grounds, like that's incredibly thick, 330, 418, that is some incredible armor. But in 8.2, as you saw, it's only about 200 millimeters thick. So, yeah, that's not good. But hey, I guess I was never wrong on it being nerfed in the first place, and that's why I always trust Blitzhanger. I really think that Wargaming saw the amount of backlash from the video that I posted on the vehicle being nerfed. It had a huge amount of people. I'm not sure if in the comments it shows how many people were, hating on the E3. Yeah, there you go. LTTB, Wargaming E3 nerfed. A lot of people were mad about the E3 nerfed. A lot. So because of that, yeah, don't do this to me, Wargaming. A lot of likes. Because of that, I think that Wargaming actually got nervous and they decided to not do the nerf. They listened to their community. Unfortunately, they did follow through, just with a different version of it. Let me know what you guys think about the T110E3 nerf in the comments down below. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think that the E3, yeah, it should be nerfed, but maybe on the aspect of just taking away speed boost. Don't ruin the vehicle's armor. It's supposed to have great frontal armor, but that's, of course, my personal opinion. Now let's break into the T110E4, another American heavily armored tank destroyer. The E4, the frontal armor is going up from 203 to 230. That's going to be good. It's obviously still not going to bounce a lot of premium shells, but at least for standard ammunition, it should be okay. As well, the side armor of the commander's Cupola was increased from 76 to 152. The turret rear speed was increased from 16 to 20 degrees a second, and the on-movement dispersion was decreased, which is good. Of course, the worse your dispersion would be, which be increasing, would make it blue more, so yeah, that's going to be very good. And if we look at the T110E4 in update 8.1, we take a look at that Cupola, it's about 217, 230 millimeters thick. The sides are about 80. Wow, that's really weak. Turret cheeks are about 230, upwards of 300 millimeters thick. If we take a look at update 8.2, let's see what those cupolas are like. Well, first of all, wow, that's actually really thick. 267 millimeters, upwards of 350 there. The turret cheeks are quite strong. The cupola in the front, as it did say, is not changed, but the sides are going up to 200. So yeah, it's going to be okay, I guess. The cupola is still very weak, though, on the front. 220 millimeters thick is surprisingly, apparently, more than the T110E3 now, but it's still going to be a very easy penetration. Now, just to put in comparison here, as we did just show, this is about 240 millimeters thick, as it says up in the top. So, if the E3 is nerfed to its current state, which Blitzhanger says, 197 is going to be way weaker than a T110E4 cupola. And as we all know, that is one easy penetration already. So, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that heat screen is going to be able to bounce heat shells, but you won't need to use heat if it's only 200 millimeters thick, because, of course, even the worst penetration tier 10, being the Vickers Light, has like 220, 30 millimeters of standard penetration. So, yeah, that's not very good. Yeah, there you go, 252. I guess it's even way more than I thought. So, there's a lot of changes coming in update 8.2, and a lot of them I like. You know, I think the T110E5 does deserve a nerf. Maybe not to the extent that it is being nerfed. I think that maybe they should have just changed one or two things. I agree with the Kanonbong being nerfed. The tank is incredibly strong. I agree with the IS-4. It's not really going to change much on the vehicle itself. There's also things I disagree with. I don't think the mouse needs a nerf. I do agree that the 263 deserves a screen on the front, but I also think that they should have left everything else the same and kept the gun the same. So there's a lot of changes coming into the game. 4005's getting more DPM, and the biggest one I disagree with completely is the FV215b. This is a vehicle that they're specifically changing, quote-unquote, because of comp. This is a tank that you rarely ever see played in comp, and I guess their idea was behind it, well, if we nerf the E5, the FV215b will now be the most played comp tank. But the reason I don't agree with this is the 215b is supposed to have a gun that is incredibly strong. And basically, they took a second off the reload, cutting that DPM off by 300. That is an incredibly strong amount of DPM they've just ripped right off the vehicle, and now it's gonna be just worse than most tier 10 heavies that didn't get their guns nerfed. Vehicles like the M6 Yo. Yeah, that is right. The 215b, after the nerf, and the T110E5 are now sitting at, well, where's the T110E5? 2276 DPM. And where do we see the 215b? It's going to be sitting at I was about to say, wow, that's incredible, but I read wrong. 2581. Now, just for comparison, if we take a look at the M6 Yo, the M6 Yo has 2545 DPMs. There you go, folks. The M6 Yo is going to have basically the same DPM as what used to be some of the strongest DPM heavies in the game. Hopefully, all of you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more like it on the nerfs, changes, and sorry, lost my voice there a little bit, but nerfs, changes, balances, I'm going to be making videos on a lot of these vehicles. I'll be playing the Centurion 7-1, I'll be playing the Mouse. I'm basically going to play every one of these tanks. So we got a good, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably a good 15 videos lined up here. So if you guys want to hear about any of these changes, I will have videos posted on every single one of these. And yeah, that's great news for you guys if you wanted to maybe grind down a line like the FE4202 after it's been increased on the mobility. Very excited for the E50M, very excited for the Patton and the M60. And the tank that I am most excited for, which probably nobody would think, is this vehicle, the WZ-113G FT. The frontal armor on the vehicle is getting a huge revamp. The cheeks are going from 120 and 80 to 170 and 100. Now, to show just how much of an armor difference that is before I actually even end the video, because this really is a huge change, here is the vehicle before update 8.2. Frontal armor is okay. It's about 297 millimeters thick. That's really strong, you know, especially if you're hull down 340. This thing can get some great bounces, and a good way to angle this tank before was you kind of go like this, and that would be about 370 millimeters thick. The issue was this plate here, only about 140. Very, very weak. However, in update 8.2, that is no longer going to be the case. As you can see, now you can angle it at an angle like this here. Get this to about 340, and if you're using it hull down like this at an angle here, about 350, and the frontal armor is 350. That is going to be way stronger for bouncing shells. As well, it got a massive upper plate buff here, about 591 millimeters thick, and before that upper plate was way weaker, only sitting at about 240. That is right. The WZ-113G FT is getting some huge changes done to it, and the on-movement dispersion is getting buffed as well. I don't know if they have it listed here. Yeah, there we go. The dispersion factors are getting massively revamped. The traverse speed, the engine power, the whole tank is getting a huge revamp, which is great. I'm very excited for that. So let me know what you guys think about the T110E3 nerfs, changes in update 8.1, and how now they're changed in update 8.2. Are you guys happy with this, or are you sad? I personally, as I said, do not agree with this, but that's my personal opinion. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Wargaming definitely disagrees. Hopefully, all of you enjoyed today's video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.